everyone. Welcome back to Bridge the Gap podcast. I'm Lauren.
And I'm Scott.
And we are in pain today a little bit. Both of our backs hurt. But Manchester United had a big win today, so that's why we're annoying and matching once again.
Yeah.
Unplanned once again.
Unplanned. We don't talk about what we're going to wear. That would be weird. But, yeah, big win for those of you that are watching live on Thursday. Obviously, the game was Sunday. That's where we're recording because I have to travel this week for work. But it should be my last week of traveling for a little bit at least. And so yeah,
so you
big
can come
win.
visit me.
Yeah, well, hopefully. We'll see. But yeah, big win. I think the biggest thing, so a couple things, and we won't talk about this too long because obviously I'm sure there's a large portion of people that watch us that don't really care about English Premier League soccer, but
yeah.
But Manchester United has had an interim coach since I think November, and when they got there, they were 11th or 12th in the league, and today's win secures them top 3. Which is very impressive to move up that many spots with an interim coach. We'll see if he gets the nod for permanent residency, but
I really don't see why he wouldn't, making that big of a change in such a short amount of time.
Yeah, I think it's because, United is, man, not to go down a rabbit hole, but United
we can't talk about this too long.
Well, they were the best team in England and Europe for years and years and years, and then Sir Alex retired in 2013, and so it's been a roller coaster of results since then, and we've had big names come and coach us, and we've had small names come and coach us, and I think it's just them trying to figure out because, we did this once before when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, who also was a former player, came in as an interim, and then he did well. The team responded. They offered him a contract, and then that ran out. The performances dropped off. And so I think they're a little gun shy with that. But I don't know. I mean, they've also went after huge names. Jose Mourinho, Louis van Gaal. I mean, huge coaches in the world of international soccer. They weren't young. They were established, and they didn't work out for the way that we always wanted. And then they went for the young upstart hot coach in his 30s, and that didn't work well. So they've kind of hit everything. So I think they're just super, super cautious on what they're going to do. But I think the biggest thing is Champions League, which means they play in Europe. So they play against clubs in other parts of Europe, other countries. That's a huge money boost for the club, which is great. And it attracts better players because all the top players want to play Champions League football / soccer. So those are really big. The biggest thing and the thing that I'm most excited about today is Bruno Fernandes, our captain. He's been with us through a lot of bad years, and he tied the single season assist record today with Thierry Henry, who is a Hall of Famer. Played for Arsenal back when they were the Invincibles. They went undefeated, and then he played for Barcelona. And then Kevin De Bruyne, who played for Manchester City. He's at Napoli now with your boy Højlund.
My boy.
But his record, tying those two, to me, is like breaking it because Thierry Henry did it with arguably one of the best teams ever in English Premier League soccer with Arsenal at the time. And it pains me to say it because I hate Arsenal, but the truth is Thierry Henry was amazing. And that team of the Invincibles was fantastic. And so, you give 20 assists to a fantastic team that went undefeated. It's like, okay, that's pretty cool, but you were like full tilt.
Yeah, it was like also
everywhere.
Kind of like expected of you to be able to pull those kinds of numbers.
Right. And then Kevin De Bruyne, same thing with Manchester City, right? Manchester City in recent history has been one of the best teams ever. And he had a whole slew of really good players around him to give the ball to and get assists. Bruno started the year with nobody up front. It was Benjamin Sesko's first year in the Premier League. Xerxes is not great. Brian Mbuemo and Mateus Cunha and Amad Diallo and Patrick Dorgu are all really young. 2 of them are brand new. They came over in the summer. We were 11th place out of 20 the first 3 months of the season. You know, like he did it. Yeah, he did it in a team with he lost his manager, who was also Portuguese, like Bruno is. So lost his manager because he got fired. Has an interim coach coming in. 2 new wingers added to the team. A new striker that just came to the Premier League. So he's done it amongst turmoil and a lack of same quality. And
yeah.
And so I'm super happy for him. He's got another game to hopefully get 1 more assist and really break the record instead of tying it. But huge game today. Pretty awesome. Secure top 3. Very happy about that, especially because they didn't even qualify for any Europe last year. So
yeah.
It's a good day. I'm wearing my pretty blue 3rd jersey. You need to focus. What is your problem? You live in an apartment. There's always going to be
No, my
noise.
AC sounds weird.
Well, it's Sunday. They're not going to come out anyway.
I know. It sounds like a train, like chugging. Like literally, that's what it sounds like right now. That's why I could hear it over the headphones.
That's loud then. I can't hear it, though, if that means anything.
Okay.
But anyway, so, yeah, good day. So I'm home alone this weekend.
Me too.
I know you are, because all your roommates are home for the summer.
Yep.
So you're a bachelorette in this big old bachelor pad.
It is nice. Like I think I've touched on this in the past. I like having roommates because, you know, I am good friends with all my roommates. However, if I could afford to live alone, I would. I'm not going to lie. I'm a solitary creature when it comes to my habits in my home.
Yeah,
it's
but
nothing
I'll tell
against
you what,
my
man,
roommate. It's not. It's what?
You were still talking. I stopped.
Okay. I was just gonna say, like, I love having roommates. I like being like the constant community kind of feel. But yeah, it is nice to be alone. Because I don't have to adhere to anyone's rules but my own. And I can do what I want and have who I want over without having to communicate anything. Like Friday, my place was kind of voluntold, but my coworkers and I have started like hanging out every Friday. And I was working Friday morning and I open up my phone once I get off. Everyone's like, yeah, so meet at Lawrence tonight after work. I was like, whoa. How did I get voted as the place to go? But it was nice because, you know, no one was here. We listened to music, played games, drank some wine, you know, did all the girly stuff, talked about the coworkers we don't like and our management, because what else do you talk about when you're hanging out with your coworkers? So
right.
It is really nice. I do miss like the community and having the rituals and the people to constantly talk to, but it's also nice to not have to come home after a 7-hour shift and have to talk to people, because I never wanted to be rude to my roommates, but sometimes I would come home and I'd sit in my car for a good 20 minutes because I was like, I don't want to socialize. I just did that for 7 hours. So.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. At your age, I would have hated to be by myself. I don't know. Like, I enjoyed having a roommate. I've never not had a roommate, to be honest. Well, that's not true. For 6 months when I was 21, I didn't have a roommate. And I didn't have a lot of friends because I had just moved up to LA from San Diego by myself. And they were sad times, man. I didn't have a whole big friend group and didn't have anyone to come home to that was cool to hang out with. And then after that, I moved in with one of my best experiences of having a roommate, James. He was awesome to live with. And then when I left LA and came back to San Diego, I moved home first with my parents, and then I lived with my cousin, and then I met your mom, and she moved in after some time. So it was me and my cousin and your mom. So it's been very rare when I live by myself. So So yeah, I don't know. Like now, it's been nice this weekend. But I've gotten a lot of stuff done too,
Yeah.
like and I've got our three dogs, of course. So I'm talking to them all week. I'm like a crazy man.
He
But
does that
yeah,
when people are in the house too, by the way.
I do.
Don't
I
let him
talk.
fool you.
Hey, listen, if you don't want to bring in dogs like they're a member of your family, then don't get dogs. You know what I mean? Like dogs are people too. They're better than people actually. Dogs are
I
the best
agree.
creature God has ever created. They're the only animal that will love its master more than they love themselves. I mean, they will.
I don't like the term master.
Oh,
It's
sorry. Okay, owner. Is that
owner.
any better?
Yeah, master sounds weird.
Okay, whatever. What about master bedroom? Does that sound weird too?
No, it's referring to someone being like your master. That's weird.
Well, we are. We're their master.
No.
We're their alpha.
No. This
We
is weird.
are.
I'm over it.
And they're animals. They're pack animals. They have a hierarchy. Like this is biology and nature. It's
It
normal.
just sounds gross.
It's your generation putting too much meaning into words again.
No, I'm not putting
Nah.
it just sounds inappropriate to me, like sexually.
Ew, gross.
That's what I mean.
With
That's
my
why it's
dogs, you
weird.
weirdo.
Bestiality exists. That's
Dude,
why I said it's weird.
I don't want to go down this pathway with you.
Well, that's why I
I'm
said it
not
was
ready
weird.
for it. I'm
I
not
said it
ready
was
for
weird.
that one.
I said it was weird. That's my whole argument.
You weirdo. So yeah, so been doing stuff around the house, got a lot of stuff done. But yeah, my back is my back. Whew.
Oh.
So gosh.
Well, my back. I think you gave to me genetically. I think it's your fault.
Well, my back was great until you were about a year and a half. So back in 2005, gosh, that's crazy. So 21 years ago, I used to mountain bike a lot out in California with my good buddy Chris, and we were pretty gung ho, crazy. Let's get at it. And anybody that's mountain bike knows that feeling. So we were in the hills out in California. I say hills, depending on where you're watching this from. They might be mountains to you, especially if you live in a flat part of the country.
Yeah.
But we were going downhill, and in California, mountain biking is a little bit different because there's no woods, right? Like the mountains aren't like here where it's
They're
trees.
rock.
And so, the mountain biking here, the trails are real narrow, but there's a lot of tree roots and, a lot of water. And out there, they're usually like the fire lanes to prevent freaking brush fires. So they're these big, wide, not wide, but big enough to get a fire truck up and down through, a dirt pass. And we were flying down. So we'd already made our climb, flying down, and we rode to the mountain or the hill or the park or whatever you want to call it. So we were flying down, and out there we had, I guess if I remember correctly, we had gotten some rain. And so obviously what happens with rain on a flat, wide dirt path is it creates little canyons where the water erodes the dirt, right? So we're flying down, and I go to turn to follow the pathway, and my tire gets rooted in one of those, I call them like mini Grand Canyons, and it just gets there. And so the bike stops, and I obviously, if you've ever taken physics or have a brain, I kept going.
Watched a movie.
Yeah. So I kept going. So I flew over the handlebars, and I was in the air long enough to go, this is really going to hurt, and you better tuck and roll. Like, that's how long I was in the air for. And so I tucked, and when I tucked, I landed on this part of my shoulder, like back here. And so my feet were literally vertically in the air. So I was straight up and down almost. And I landed so hard that my spine compressed, and it ruptured a disc in my lower back. And I was all cut up and everything. But I had so much adrenaline flowing through me when it happened. I was like, oh man, that sucked. That hurt. I know I'm cut up and bloody. Okay, it is what it is.
God, you probably gave mom a heart attack too.
So we rode home, and Chris and I we all lived in the same townhouse community. So, we're coming back in, and you and your mom were pulling in, and she sees me all bloody, and she's like, "Oh, what?" She flipped out, like, "What the hell happened?" And, you were only like 1.5, 2 years old. So you were just like, "Dad," and, so we go back. I help unload the groceries, hang my bike up in the garage, and I go take a shower, and I come downstairs and I sit down at the table to eat lunch and couldn't get up. I literally sat, ate, and then I tried to get up and my back completely seized up and I fell over. And so that was 21 years ago. So I was 30, 31. I was a young man.
I'm sorry, it's not funny. Just the way
You were there. You came over and was like, "Daddy, Daddy."
The image is so cartoonish.
Oh, it is, dude. It is totally exactly like
Tom and Jerry.
It was, dude. It was totally Tom and Jerry.
Oh my
so
God.
I was out of commission. Like I was out of work for I don't know, 2 weeks, maybe 2 to 3 weeks. I couldn't move. Like I was sitting, I was in bed. And we didn't have one of those adjustable beds like we have now. So, it was horrible. And so ever since then, my back, especially as you get older, out of nowhere, your back just reminds you that, that it's there. So this morning, I'd gotten some lawn soil to spread on some, spots that needs a little bit of help in the backs because our grass here in the South is coming out of dormancy because we have Bermuda grass here. And so I was on my hands and knees just spreading it out with my hand, and I got up and my back went, "Hey, dude, what's going on?" Like just a little,
It was a warning tap.
Yeah. And I was like, "Oh, okay."
It was like a love tap.
Yeah. I was like, "Oh." And I've got to drive like 3.5 hours, 4 hours tomorrow for the week being up there in Raleigh. So I was like, "Oh, I need to take this easy." So I stopped doing what I was doing. I'm not going to do it anymore. I'll do it next week.
Very good.
And
very good.
I walked around. I went to Costco and Target and stuff and walked around, and I took an anti-inflammatory prescription, not a pain or a muscle relaxer, just anti-inflammatory, just to make sure that doesn't seize up. But yeah, good times getting older.
See, my back hurts, and I think mine actually stems also from a bike accident. I also had a very similar flying over the handlebars experience when I was like 4.
No, you were younger.
3 then?
It was before your brother was born. I think your mom was pregnant. So yeah, you were like 3.
3.
3 or 4.
3.5.
Yeah.
So same kind of scenario, except for we were in the neighborhood. We were going on an evening walk, and I was riding my bike with my parents. And right in front of our old house, the street was this giant hill.
It wasn't that giant, but
it was giant.
For a little kid, it's giant.
It was
for
giant.
sure. For sure, for a little kid.
So they were walking because it's good for a pregnant woman to get her steps in. Dad had the dog.
Yep.
And I told him I was going to go down the hill, and he said, "Okay, just be careful. Don't brake too hard because that's how you fly off." Well, I listened to that, except for I was an idiot. And I turned around to look at my parents once I started to get to the bottom to see if they were proud of me. Lost control, absolutely crashed. I split open my knees, my elbows. I re-split open my chin.
Yeah.
I was a mess. But we never really went to the doctor because I didn't have any deep enough gashes for it to be a problem.
No.
But I think looking back, there was damage done to my back that we just didn't even think about. Because again, you're 3. It's... You heal the cuts, call it a day.
Yeah.
But I really do think there was a leftover problem because that's the only thing that I've done besides softball and sliding on hard dirt that would hurt my back,
Yeah.
But I was at work 2 weeks ago and I was on bread. So Longhorn, you get complimentary bread, by the way. So I was coming in and I put the box down to get the new bread out. And I bent over to open up the box, fell to my knees in the kitchen. And it was in my lower back. And it was on one of our busiest days. It was a graduation day. So I had to lock in. But I was walking around all night. I was like, "Oh, yeah. Oh, Anytime I had to bend over, I would like squeal. You know what I'm saying? Like I'd be like,
Oh yeah.
and everyone felt so bad. But it was also funny because the way I was walking, it looked like I had a stick up my ass. Like I literally was like wobbling, and then I got like a 10 top, so I had to carry the big ass tray full of drinks, and I was like, oh my God, please don't drop the tray. Anything but dropping the tray.
Yeah.
It was so bad. And since then, my lower back is like stuck. Like it won't pop, it won't crack if I sit down too long, if I slouch. It's
Yeah, you
bad.
gotta be
It's
careful.
really bad.
You got to be careful. That's the one thing with backs, right? I mean, listen, genetically, who knows, right? I mean, my mom has a terrible back. She's had 4 back surgeries, a few neck surgeries, and so it could be genetic. I mean, mine, I don't think if I, well, I played a lot of sports growing up and never had a back issue. I don't know if me rupturing a disc in my back, crashing while mountain biking warrants I have a genetically weak back or not. I think it was, extreme sport initiated.
Yeah.
So who knows? But
I think it just didn't
I'm
help.
never gonna have surgery on my back ever. Not
No.
after watching my mom. And I know it's a lot better. And listen, maybe in another 5 or 10 years with technology advancements in the medical field, maybe I can do one and it doesn't debilitate me forever. But all I know is that I need both of my shoulders operated on, and I won't do that because everyone I know that has their shoulder operated on, they just get back to the place they were before. No one comes out of a shoulder surgery that I've ever met. And if you're watching and you have an example where I'm wrong, please share it with us, because rotator cuff surgeries, I have never seen someone have one and then they come back and they're like, oh yeah, I have a full range of motion. That was totally worth it. Everyone I know is like, that was 6 months of recovery just to be back to where the same range of motion that I had before. Maybe just a little less pain. So I'm not opposed to having surgeries. I've had them on my knee and stuff, but man, not my back. I refuse.
I've never had surgery, knock on wood, but I do think I'm gonna end up having to get my knees replaced, and I've even had my doctor tell me that. They're like, yeah, your knees are really messed up for like a 20-year-old. I was like, I know, I told you guys this 4 years ago and you guys told me it was puberty, but that's fine.
Well, you're still going through it.
But I knew it was more than that. But I'm definitely gonna to have my knees done from softball. I think the back thing probably started when I was younger, because then I also just didn't stop throwing myself off of things. Because you and Mom have even said, like, you would just throw yourself. Like, there was no reason. You would just exist.
Well, you and your brother you guys used to jump off the furniture. There's pictures of you guys. I was sitting on the floor and you guys are standing on my back, on my shoulders.
Yeah.
That's probably didn't help my back either. But you guys would stand on my shoulders and jump. And so, yeah, I mean, listen, you're given one life.
I was going to say, the back thing, I think it got worse from playing softball, because it's a lot of diving and sliding and you're throwing yourself down on the ground, especially playing outfield. All those times that I was diving to get something, those landings never felt good. Even if you did it the correct way, you land on that dirt and you're like, oh God. Yeah. You got to get up and throw the ball. So, yeah.
Well,
I mean, it is what it is.
It's important that as you get older, though, one of the things you have to do is keep your core strong. That helps your back. So keeping your abs, your obliques, your lower back muscles, like you got to do the push-ups, do the crunches, do the stretching. You got to do all that stuff to keep your back nimble and not flaring up from overuse, So
yeah, I've got a new gym routine that I'm going to start tomorrow. So hopefully, and it's very core based, because core and legs, because legs are always strong. My legs have always been strong, and recently they've gotten a little too jiggly, I'll say. Well, and it's getting on my nerves. So and it's not a bad thing. Cellulite is not a bad thing. It's very normal. Everyone gets it. It happens. But when you've had toned legs your entire life, it's a jarring experience. So core based, and then a little bit of legs just to retone them.
Well,
Because if I flex my leg, you can still see my muscles. Like they're still strong in there, but
yeah.
they need to be worked on a bit.
Yeah, I would say for you, you're young and you don't need to do a lot to be tone, right? Because we have muscular physiques.
Yeah.
So don't do a ton of weight, just do a ton of
No.
activity. You know what I
Reps,
mean?
yeah.
So like if there's a stair climber in your gym, then do the stair climber. That'll work out your legs and get rid of that cellulite, no problem.
Ooh, and Bulgarian split squats. I hate them, but they're so good for you.
Yeah, but just do light weight. Don't do a ton of weight. That's what'll
Yeah.
kill you. So that's what winding back, if I could have not let my young 20 something ego get in the way, I wouldn't have lifted as much weight as I did, because the problem with that is once that muscle's there, yeah, it diminishes a little bit, but my frame has taken the beating of carrying around extra muscle weight, you know? So you don't want to do that as you get older. You want to get tone. And so to get tone, it's the reps with the lighter weight and the more activity. So walk on an incline, like put your incline up to
I've
like
been
a
going
7
on walks, yeah.
and just
Yeah, it is funny
walk.
too, because we've talked about this with weights, is when you know you're strong, it's really hard to not keep going. Like in high school, my deadlift cap, my, I guess, what is it called? PR, my personal,
best.
whatever. Yeah. For deadlifting, I did 2 reps of 315 at 16 years old. I didn't need to be doing that at all.
Right.
Like not even not even a little bit did I need to be lifting that weight.
Yeah.
And I didn't do it all the time. I stayed at a pretty healthy one, but there were some days where I'd be like, let's see if I can push it. And there was no reason to. And honestly, my weightlifting coach should have been like, let's not do that.
Exactly.
But he's been fired from the last 3 high schools that he's been at, including mine. So
Yeah, I mean, listen, there was a time when I stopped playing soccer and didn't know what to do with my energy. I took a weightlifting class in college because it was just a good way to work out for you pay $13 for the unit and get to use this huge gym at a college for free.
Yeah.
Basically, and
$13.
that was $13 a unit back then for junior college. And
My head hurts.
so I put all my energy into lifting, right? Because I had played soccer, played very high level. That was my whole life. And so I didn't have to work out my legs, right? They were huge and very fit. But my upper body, I wanted to build up. So I did. And I used to start my bench. Just the warm-up was 225. So that's 2 45-foot plates.
I can't even bench the bar.
That's 2 45-pound plates on either side. That's what I started. That was my warm-up. And I got up to benching over 400, like almost 400 pounds, like let me back up. Because someone's going to be like, there's no way you did that, blah, blah, blah. It was over 300 pounds. Sorry, not 400. Over 300 pounds. So 3 plates on each side is what, 315? So I think I was near like the 340 mark. I think 350.
That's so dangerous too. Benching can kill you.
Well, and I never did steroids. We didn't have protein drinks like we have now, right? So the coach who was my teacher, he literally asked me, he's like, "What are you taking?" And I was like, I'm not taking anything, like I am just motivated to be strong,
Yeah.
And it is an addiction. Like it like mentally, even to this day. So I recently stopped working out again. Like I've gone in waves. I mean, and I always go to a gym going, okay, I just want to get a good sweat, feel good. And then I get there and I look at myself in the mirror and I'm like, this is so weak. Like you're only doing a lat pull down of 140, like what and my brain will tell me, stop being such a wuss, do more. And that's how people get hurt
That's what
And
I did last time we went to the gym together. I was doing the leg press.
mhm,
I was like, I did the same thing. I told you as we walked in too. I remember being like, I'm not gonna go crazy today. Just want to get a
yep,
good leg workout. And then I was doing leg press and I felt a man watching. And I was like,
yeah,
all right, bet. I
yeah.
was like, bet you want to see me do
You want to
something?
see what's up? Yeah, it is.
And so like for me it was competitive because I was like, I don't want a man to think like, oh, what a weakling. This is why women can't do blah blah blah. And I was like, oh, want to bet, buddy?
Yeah,
And then I kept that attitude the whole time. There was no need for me to do that.
it's totally a thing. Like I used to circuit train, and at my age, obviously I'm pretty gray, so I took no rests. Right, I would
Yeah.
pick 3 or 4 exercises and just no resting, just power as much as you can and as and whatever time you can, and then you take a rest. As opposed to what I see, some people go to the gym and they do one set and then they sit there for 15 minutes on their phone. I'm like, Jesus, anybody can be strong if you take 15 minutes in between sets, for God's sakes, right? Like, it's about not just being strong, but having the endurance to keep it up, right?
Yeah, we were told you do reps, you do a set, 30 seconds off, start the next set. Like
Right.
it's a good, because you do need that momentary cool down, but too long and you lose the progress.
Yeah, it's so stupid. So anyway, it is a mental thing. But I found myself being sore, like once again, my shoulders and stuff hurting for days, and it's so I've totally stopped. Like now it's just about walking, trying to keep my activity level up and do stuff,
You can
but
still do
not
the
do
core
it
stuff, yeah.
just not doing it intentionally, like to the gym to go, all right, I'm going to do back today, or I'm going to do chest or arms, or just try and be an active 50 something to stay fit and watch what I eat, blah, blah, blah. But it is crazy getting older, which, it's kind of a mind for a lack
Yep.
of better terms right now. So, like, I've had some time to think. So obviously we've talked about it, but I went back to a company that I worked for 16 years ago, 15
Yeah.
years ago. So when I left, I was in my mid 30s, and now I'm back. And so what's weird about it is I'm learning what's changed, but also a lot of reminiscing of what hasn't.
Yeah.
And so I stop and reflect, and I'm like, wow, like my brain doesn't feel different than it did when I left. I mean, I'm more mature. I've grown as a person. I'm not this young middle 30s relentless pursuit to succeed. I just don't have that same level. Age matures you and mellows you out some, and so there's that growth. But overall, I'm like, dude, I don't feel any different,
Yeah.
but I'm way different, right? And so then I kind of sat back and thought about it, and our family is in kind of a weird spot right now.
Yeah.
Like it's weird because so obviously you made the announcement a few weeks ago that you're at least taking a semester off of school
Yes.
to kind of focus on you. So that's a life change, right? Like you not going to
Yeah.
school is a life change for us. Like it's weird, right? And then your brother may not play soccer anymore. He might play club in the fall. I think his coach is still trying to get him to play and work with his schedule and stuff like that. But ultimately, they're at he's at a tournament, which they won, by the way, and your brother played fantastic. Apparently, they won the tournament, so they're on their way home now, I believe. But
Yeah.
that could be the last tournament he plays. It very well could be. So
Yeah.
and then you're out of the
it's,
house.
It's so strange too, because talking about getting older, right? Like, smaller example, but it is the little things that remind you you're getting older. For example, over when I had my friends over on Friday, we played Cards Against Humanity. I'm not gonna lie to you, I never really thought that game was as funny as all the adults were. Like the adults, y'all laugh hard, and I'm like, it's really not that funny, but like whatever. On Friday night, that was the funniest game that I've ever played in my life, and I was like, son of a bitch. I was like,
Yeah.
dang it, I'm getting older, and it's a gift to get older, and I know that, and that's something that Hollywood doesn't do a good job of showing you because they all want to still look 20 when they're 62 years old, and it's really creepy.
Well, they're eating the pizza.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
But it's just weird. And then like with Ryan, like I know mentally he's getting older, but when I was told that he might be done with soccer, I cried a little bit
Mhm.
because like again, I've tried to explain this to you and mom before, but y'all are both the younger siblings, and then by the time mom had Eric as a younger brother, she was already
And
an
Kim.
adult. And Kim.
And
Yeah. And so it's weird because like in a way Ryan was like my first baby because it's my baby brother. And there were times that
I don't not listen to you, but you can't make that same analogy. That's like telling a parent that they're a dog owner so they know what you're going through. It's not.
no, that's
It's
not
a
what I said.
I know, but you're like he's almost like my baby because he's my baby
Yeah,
brother. It's
he's my baby
completely
brother.
different. It's
I know
completely
that,
different.
Dad. I know that because, but to me, it's the same thing because I'm not a parent yet. I don't know the difference. Anyway, um, there were a lot of times where I would make him dinner and it would just be the two of us at night because you guys were somewhere, and it's just weird to know that soon he'll be like me where he's out of the house and has his own job and has his own friends and we only see each other at holiday. Like it's weird.
Well, so yes. Now imagine being us. So
Yeah.
your mom and I have been together for 25 years. You're 21, your brother's 17. You're both about to be 22 and 18. So for the majority of our existence together, we've had a common source of motivation, which was our family, you
Yeah.
and your brother, and so you both played sports your entire upbringing. Um, Ryan, you started playing soccer at 4. Ryan started playing soccer at 4. Then you went into softball and you played softball until you were 16, 17, and you played
17.
played travel softball, and then you did track, and then
I did basketball for 2 years,
basketball,
cheerleading.
cheerleading. I mean, you did all like a ton of it. Your brother did baseball, he did soccer. He plays travel soccer. He plays high school varsity soccer. You played varsity softball and varsity track. And, your mom and I, for many, many, many years, it was our whole existence was the two of you. I mean, it was everything we did. And it still does. It just has evolved to where, your brother needs less of us because he's 17, about to be 18. He's driving. He's got his friends. They do their thing. And then he might stop playing soccer. And then you stop playing softball, but then went into track and you're about to be 22. You obviously need less of us. And so there are times where your mom and I, for years and years, it was divide and conquer. I traveled during the week and then I got home on Thursday night, and Friday you and I would go down to a softball tournament, or you and your mom and your brother would go to a soccer tournament. And so it was just constant, constant, constant. It never ended. Ryan's off season
Yeah.
was your peak season. Your off season was his peak season. So we never had any moments, which is what you do as a parent. And that's what hopefully your generation is learning, is that being a parent isn't, it isn't trendy. It shouldn't be trendy. It shouldn't be something that you don't take seriously. It's the most important gig you'll ever have in your life, is to
Yeah.
raise a human to be a good human and contribute to society.
Yeah.
Anybody can be a parent. anybody, right? Biology. And we have many, many examples of people that are parents that probably never should have. And we
Yeah.
glorified it, right? I mean, we put it on television. What is that stupid show on MTV, 16 and Pregnant or something? And we
Yeah.
glorified it. It's not glorification. Like, it is the most important thing we can do as a species
Yeah.
is procreate humans that are positive contributors to society.
And you know what? That's why I'm pro-choice, because some people, accidents happen,
Well, I'm not
and
going to
you're
go.
not
I'm not going to
you're
go
not
down that
ready.
route.
No,
I'm
I'm
not
just
going to go
saying
down that
though.
route.
I'm just saying that makes a good argument.
Well, it does for
Like
people
Michael
that
Jackson
are,
said, if you can't feed your baby, then don't have a baby.
Well, that's true, but then be responsible heading into that decision. Don't make the decision post. That's the challenge.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm not going down that route. But anyway, we are at a place to where your mom and I look at each other and we're like, we don't have anything to do. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, what do we got going on this weekend? Nothing. What? Like,
Yeah.
and so, I used to say, I used to believe, like, when I was your age, and I would hear, maybe a little older, and I would hear, like, my friends' parents getting divorced. And I was like, what the why are they getting divorced now? They've done the hard part. They raise kids. Like, now, like, it's just the two of you. And not that your mom and I we're not in any trouble. We're very happy. At least I can speak for my side. I'm very happy.
I was just threw up.
But I can now.
I just got flashbacks to that prank you pulled on me.
Well, I can now understand why people do, because you have to, like, reinvent who you are as people and then also as a couple, because like I said, we've been together for 25 years. We've been married for 23 and you're 21. So for the majority of our lifetime, we've had a central force of energy and focus, right? At least our married lifetime.
Yeah.
Well, now you're always on our mind. We're always thinking of you. We will always think of you. And when you become a parent, you'll understand what that means. It's the most unconditional love you can ever feel for something. But you're not there. And your brother is doing his thing and figuring himself out, and you are too, and you're young adults or about to be. And so it's just us. And it's like, so I can see how some marriages don't know what to do after that, because you look at each other and you're like, wow, I didn't realize how different I am as a person because I always had my kids. We always had our kids. Or our only commonality, the only thing that we enjoyed doing together was with the kids stuff, and now we don't have that. And you kind of have to reinvent the relationship. So now that I am in the position, I can see why it happens. But it's a weird space to be. Like, it's weird for me professionally because I'm in a place where I was 15 years ago, and a lot of the teams are a little bit younger. Like I was, and so you go, oh, wait, I'm the old guy in the group. Like, when you tell a story and be like, yeah, there's this older lady. And then you look around and you're like, oh, crap, I'm the older guy. Okay. There was a lady that is like my age. You know what I mean? And then, so I have that, like, pushing my mind, my mentality. And then the reality of there's free time that we have that is not centered around just you and your brother.
Yeah.
And so it's like, wow, like I told your mom the other day, I was like, we got to find a hobby. Like, we've got to do something that we enjoy together.
Yeah.
That will take some of that time. So that we're not just, sitting at a bar having drinks and appetizers, or we're not just watching TV, or, you know what I mean? Like, we've got to find something that we can do that fills some of that time, because, having two kids, you don't have any time.
No.
You have work, you have your kids, you fit your significant other in within that if you wanted to stay healthy and happy. So, your mom and I always did a date night, and we always tried to keep our connectivity.
Well, I think that's also going to help you, is what I was thinking about is, I do think that's going to help you in the long run, that when Ryan and I were starting to get older, you guys would go and like have a drink after work together.
Yeah.
Cause you knew Ryan and I both had plans. So you guys were like, fine. So I think you guys, that helped you. That's going to help y'all in the long run because y'all have already made it a priority to
Be a
take more
priority to
time
each
for each
other.
other,
Right. Yeah.
knowing that after Ryan graduates high school, all you're going to have is each other and for most of the time.
Yeah.
So I do understand, like it's so like weird to me to even like try to process because I'm just so far away from any of
Oh
that.
yeah.
I don't even have a boyfriend. So it's like it's weird for me to think about, but I think y'all will be fine. I think y'all will get on each other's nerves for sure.
Probably.
But if you guys do take the time to do those date nights and then find a hobby that you both enjoy to do and sacrifice things for the other. Like grandpa, he just walks around with me mom while she shops, but that's quality time that they're spending together
Yeah.
and it's kept them nice and strong. So it's like certain things that I think y'all will be fine.
Yeah, it's so weird. Like it's just weird. And I'm not there's a part of me that's sad. I think I'm
Yeah.
processing some of that. Cuz I think as a parent, you do the majority of your adult life is to try and raise good adults, you know?
Yeah.
And then you get there, and I think we did a pretty good job. I think you and your brother are pretty good people.
Yeah.
You're not criminals, you're not thugs, you're not psychos, right? Like you're good people. And so you do all that. And so it's an honor and it's a proudful, that's not a word. It's a
Pride.
situation that makes you proud to look
Yeah.
at you and your brother as young adults to go, we did okay, and
Yeah.
we've had some comments from people that have watched our podcast that say you and your wife are good parents, which is a huge compliment, even from strangers. There's some people I don't even
Yeah.
know, and they comment that, which is super super nice. And so there's a ton of pride in all that.
Yeah.
But it's sad too because that phase of your life, which was it was literally half my life,
Yeah.
is over, and it's like, okay. So you kind of have to like almost grieve your former self, you're that part of who you are.
Yeah.
And then, oh, by the way, you still have those two kids that are on your mind and you constantly worry and hope that they're still enjoying what they're doing and they're finding what their way and their passion and learning, and they're having their setbacks, but they're coming out of them in a positive forward foot. Like those thoughts are always still there as a parent. They never go away.
Yeah.
But you kind of have to reinvent yourself again. And it's, when I was your age, I never thought this far ahead, right? Like I was like, okay, whatever. My dad was 30 years older than I was. So when I was 21, he was 51, just kind of like you and I.
Yeah.
And it was like, yeah, whatever, that's my dad. Like, whatever, he's a dad. Like he works and he's married to my mom, like you never think of it. I never knew, and my dad and I never communicated what those transitions looked like for him, what he felt when, I got older. And so, it's weird being this age. And like you said, it's a privilege to grow older because a lot of people don't make it. And so I appreciate that. And I appreciate where we are in life and what we've accomplished and what you and your brother have accomplished as young people and young adults. And I'm just super excited for what's to come for the two of you. But it's weird to be this age, I mean, I remember hearing my parents and my aunt and uncle, razzing me in my early 20s about sex, right? And they're like, they were giving me shit about, dating and stuff when you're in your early 20s. And I'll never forget it because my aunt was like, well, I still have sex with your uncle. We have it all the time. And I was like, I reacted like you. I was like, And then I look back, she was 50.
No, I don't care.
She was 50 years old. I don't even think she was 50. She was probably in her late 40s. So she was younger than I am now, and it's like, holy shit, now I'm that person.
No, you're not.
And
no!
you're reacting the way that I reacted. Like, this whole cycle is such a trip to get old to.
No, stop. We have to reroute the conversation.
But it's just so crazy how life works that way.
Yeah.
And friends of ours.
Well, because I'm in like that first cycle that you're talking about, the first reinvention, right? Because after you graduate high school, you're 18, you think you know who you are. You 100% are not that person.
No.
And
you're not.
I've always said from the ages of 18 to 22, you go through the most change you'll ever go through, because very, very formative years. Obviously, I don't know if you change more going on, which you probably could, but every adult I've even said that to, where I'm like, 18 to 22 are your biggest like change of years. And even mom's been like, oh yeah, she's like, that's the most change I ever went through with those ages,
Yeah.
And so I'm at that first stage of like, well, who am I kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I did decide to change my path that a lot of people don't take, at least in the community that I've been surrounded by. And so, yeah, it is a little weird. It does feel a little isolating, because again, the people that I'm surrounded by are all going to continue their education for sure. And I'm in that, I don't know. But what I have to remind myself is like, I'm not alone in that. There's a lot of kids that do that. A lot of kids that didn't even go to school. A lot of kids that stopped going to school. And a degree doesn't determine your success. You can be successful without one.
100%.
And a grade isn't your worth. You're not worthless because you failed a paper. Like, it's not. And that's what the world conditions you to think. And I just don't think that's fair.
Yeah.
But I mean, you've told me before, I've always been a dreamer. I've always thought I could do more than what is expected. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, it does feel like lonely, but also the people that I've been open and honest with about it have been like, well, good for you.
Yeah.
Like, that's what works for you, then do it, and I've even had some of my coworkers have been like, I wish I was brave enough to make that decision. And I was like, I don't know if it's bravery. It's just,
it's bravery.
I just started listening to myself after years of listening to what everyone else expected of me. I was like, I might disappoint some people. I might confuse some people. I'm confused myself. But right now, this is the path that I need to take. And I'll figure it out.
Yeah, I will say.
Eventually, hopefully, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
But I'll figure it out.
Well, listen, the advice that I have for you and I've given to you is, I was a dreamer too when I was young. Like, I wanted to play professional soccer. I wanted to be a drummer in a rock band. Like, I was that guy. I wanted to be a famous actor, right? So I was the lead in the plays in high school. I played drums when I was young. I played soccer. I played at a very high level of soccer. I moved to LA and shot a commercial and had an agent and shot a pilot I wasn't a main character at all. But I've done some of that. And the thing that makes it different is that I never committed 100% of myself to anything that I dreamt of becoming. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing that's the scary part. Like, that's the scary part for you. Mm-hmm. And so I really feel confident that if I would have slowed myself down enough to really trust myself enough to believe in myself and commit myself to one thing that was against the grain, right? So I quit school, right? Graduated high school, went and played, came back, went to junior college, got my associates, quit, moved to LA, right? Mm-hmm. If I would have committed myself to that, then who knows what could have happened, right? But right. I didn't. I got I committed myself to being the age. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm 21. I'm going to be 21, right?
Yeah.
And so, I worked in, I've said this before, I worked at the House of Blues in Hollywood, California, and I had an agent, and I will tell you, my agent called me and said, you have an audition this Friday, 3 o'clock in Studio City. And I lived in Sherman Oaks. So if you live in California, you know exactly where I'm talking. And I was like, oh, but I can work tonight and it's a good show. So I'll make $300-400 easy, which, 1995, 1996, 97 timeframe, you make $300-400 a night cash back then. That was a crap load of money. I mean, it's still a lot of money. If I could make $300 a day cashier or bartending, I might do it. But
I know I need like $200 tonight.
but
I need it.
but so I didn't go to the audition. I went to work because I knew that was a sure thing. And so that's what I mean. So having the courage to do something different, which is what I did, is courage. It does take courage. It does take bravery. I was going to school, living in a townhouse. I had a couple dogs. I had a drum kit in my master. I had the master bedroom because I knew the owner of the townhouse, so I got the biggest room. I had a drum kit in my room. I was driving a truck. I was living life at 2021.
Yeah.
And I gave all of it. I gave my grandmother my dogs. I sold my drum kit, sold my bed. I had a king size bed, sold my bed, got a twin bed for my parents, right? Like, I gave up the path to try something completely different. I moved to LA with no friends, no job, no nothing.
Yeah.
But then once I got there, my courage ended because then I just was satisfied with being 21, 22 and having a good time and partying and making good money and seeing a ton of rock shows and I gave away the dream for the present. And so the biggest challenge for you is you've made the courageous decision to pursue something outside of the norm and to try something and bet on yourself. The challenge for you now is to not lose that focus for short-term gain because that's what will derail it. And then that's when you're going to look back and go, shit, I probably should have just stayed. And that's exactly what I did at 25. It's 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm cleaning up in a restaurant and bar, and I look around and everybody's in their 30s because the money's so good. And I was like, shit, I don't want to be cleaning a bar at 3 o'clock in the morning or cleaning a bus station or wiping tables down at 3 o'clock. Cause so then that was my aha moment. And I was like, shit, I should move home and go back to school. And so that's how my pathway changed. But the courage, you've done the first piece of the courage.
Yeah.
The biggest courageous decision is that you fully invest, and that means sacrificing the short term because you're going to see people finish school and they're going to get a job and they're going to start getting the nice cars and they're going to start living in the nice apartment and they're going to be buying the designer stuff, and you're going to be like, shit, I don't have the money for that. Maybe I should just go back and do it. And that's that short-term distraction that will inevitably creep in because you're a human being. And it crept in for me, and I've regretted it the rest of my life. If I would have just committed myself to one of those three things, then I would have felt a lot better about my 20s, and I don't have I don't have a ton of regrets, but that's one of them. I mean, obviously everything happens for a reason. I moved home, met your mom. Yeah. The rest is history. I would never trade any of that for the world. It's just looking at myself in the mirror. That is the moment that I was like, you gave up on yourself and you went after something because it was cheap and easy and immediate, as opposed to head down, grind it out, keep your vision on the prize, what you're trying to do. And so that's going to be your challenge.
I think mine's a little different, only in the sense that you were really dreaming big with like the acting and all the other stuff. Mine's a little more simple in the sense that I just want to be an author. But like right now, I think the biggest part of that dream is not just getting a book published, because that's kind of a staple piece of wanting to be an author.
Right.
Um, but like my big dream would to be to save up enough money and move to London and work at a publishing house for income, because then you just read books and edit them and go about your day, and you can do that anywhere now. It's electronic. So I could go sit on a beach in Spain and read. Like that's but then write in my free time, right? Cuz then I have the in with the publishing house, so it's like, "Hey, I've done all this work for you, now read mine." Like that's kind of the dream scenario, also just living in London. Um but I think that's the biggest like unattainable in my brain kind of dream part, but it's completely attainable. I just have to work for it.
You just have to work for it,
But
and you have to be willing to take the setbacks, right? Like you're talking about
yeah,
living in London. Well, it's not cheap to live in London. And then you're talking about on a beach in Spain. Well, you cost money, and so what happens is those dreams. There's some sort of financial component to some those dreams.
always, yeah.
And so then you get sucked into how do I get the financial in order to achieve the dream? And it's like,
Yeah.
it's so then you start looking, and that's exactly what I did. Like I liked having nice stuff. I had a nice car. I wore nice clothes. I went out to nice parties.
Yeah.
I lived in a 3-story townhouse with my roommate. We had nice things. And so then you get distracted by that and you forget about the sacrifice. I've
Well,
always
and you know what's funny? The bravest person that I know right now that's around my age is my coworker from Columbia. Her name's Jessica. I just went down to visit her. She has less than $5,000 in her savings. And she'll tell you, so I know I can share this. But she's always wanted to move to Miami. So she's going. She just put down an offer on an apartment yesterday and just is going. I was like, but you don't have. She's like, I'll find it. She's like, I'll find a job. I'll find the funds. I'm like, that is the bravest thing in the world, because really, if I wanted to, I could apply for a visa, get a job set up, and I could move to London right now with $5,000 in my bank account and call it a day.
Yeah.
And be like, you know what? I'll figure it out. But I can't. I'm not brave. Like that's another level of
that's what I did
bravery.
That's what I did when I moved to LA.
Oh, see, I'm not there yet.
I told my roommates I was moving out, sold my drum set, like I said, sold some of my stuff, packed it into a U-Haul, and found a studio apartment. So I left a 3-bedroom, 2-story, 2-car garage townhouse for a studio apartment in Los Feliz, which is on like East Hollywood, and no job. Like I tried to transfer with Home Depot. They didn't take me. So then I had to find a job.
I can't transfer my job over to London.
Yeah, no, you can't. So I know that's it's a big thing. We're coming up on time, but that's you. Now that you've made the decision, you can't lose sight of the goal. And it might mean that you're driving a car that you don't want to drive anymore. It might mean that you're, not buying this or that because you want it. You have to make those sacrifices, and you can't lose sight. You can, but if you do, then you have to reconcile yourself to be like, okay, I'm going to go finish school now and go and do XYZ or whatever, and that's what I did. And listen, it worked out. I still wound up playing. I played junior college soccer because I couldn't play any other division because my eligibility had gone. And at the end of the day, only 7% of high school athletes play any level of college, and I got all state for playing soccer at 25 with a bunch of 18 and 19-year-olds at the junior college again. And I've achieved success after those things, but I was brave enough to give it a try, but I was not consistently brave enough to make sure I gave it my all, because I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't give it my all. And so that's the regret that I have. Not anything that's happened in my life since, but the regret is you could have and you should have really put a little bit more effort into some of those things, And that's why people, and you hear it, and we'll wrap up. But you hear stories of athletes or musicians or actors that were like, what was your backup plan? Like, I didn't have one. Like, this was it.
Yeah.
And that's great when you make it, but there's a lot of people that, don't make it. and they didn't have a backup plan. So they gave it their all and they don't achieve their dreams. And so that's, that's the thing that always sat in the back of my mind
Yeah.
a lot because of, how I'm wired and how my parents were wired and stuff. But for you, we're supporting you 100%. You do what you need to do to go and achieve it. Just don't lose sight of it. And then
Yeah, I really don't have a backup plan right now. Like, I know that
well, you just
school's always
started.
there.
Yeah.
I know school's always there, but it's really like, I don't want that to be approached. Like, I really want to put my head down and do this because I've been telling people forever, I want to be an author. I want to be an author. I like to write. I like to write. Okay, well then do something. And
Right.
that's what I came to the realization where I'm like, all right, well, let's actually dedicate to doing this. So,
well, you've got what, 3 books that you're actively working on right now, like
yeah.
3 different stories. They're not
Yes.
even it's not even like a trilogy. They're like 3
And
different
they're all
unique,
different genres.
yeah, they're all unique to themselves. So, listen, you have it in you, and you've got the support team behind you.
Yeah.
So just keep focusing on that prize. Do not get lured in by the immediate gratification of stuff. That's what I did, and it was worth it to me at the time.
Yeah.
30 years later or 25 years later, I'm like, damn it.
So I'm making it a priority to be like, okay, well, I open up my schedule a lot for work for the summer because I do want to save up money because, again, the end goal is moving.
Mm-hmm.
But what I made a priority of is, okay, well, Monday, Tuesday, I work morning shifts. So after I get off, I can go to a coffee shop or somewhere and write.
Yeah.
Wednesday, I have a day off. I can spend that whole day brainstorming, writing, like finding the pockets of time to be able to do that is, I think, the biggest part of it. Because unfortunately, I do have to work a lot because the price of things, I have to work a lot. But and other financial responsibilities. But yeah, just finding the pockets to do it. And that's what I want to do.
Well, for my end, don't forget someday you're going to be my age. And so the life that what I was describing earlier, and for those people that are listening, if you're in your 50s or if you're a Gen X and you're going through what we're going through as far as trying to find your identity again and figure out what do you do when you've been married for 20 plus years and your kids are grown and they're out of the house and your whole existence was really about providing for them. And, those are things that are real,
Yeah.
and, for me, I want to share that with you so that you're aware of it, that this is going to happen. This will happen to you too. If you're going to grow up and have a family, like you're going to be here too someday. So
Yeah.
embrace it and
It's
know
insane.
that it's a part of what you do as a human being. And know that it's normal and know that it's hard. It's hard. And I think that's what, a kid your age doesn't understand, because you look forward and you think your parents have it figured out, or your grandparents or your aunts and uncles. And we don't. We're still trying every time to work through these new challenges because we've never faced them before. That's the one constant.
Yeah.
Like, I can tell you what I was like at your age, and I can give you the guidance and the advice, which I do. But you haven't experienced it until you experienced it. And then you have to try and figure it out again. And that's where your mom and I are. It's like, well, we kind of knew this was coming. It's no surprise you guys are going to get older, but now we're actually in it and we're like, wow, we've got to work through this. And how do we do it? And how do we figure it out? So stay tuned on how we do that and what hobbies we pick up and, how we fill our free time, So anyway, I thought this family's at an interesting intersection as a collective, and there's a lot of decisions that we're facing, and the status quo isn't the status quo anymore, and the norm and the routines are changing and they're different, and the growth is happening, and it's hard and it's scary and makes you want to cry sometimes, and it makes you want to laugh at times, and you know, it's weird. At the end of the
It is
day,
weird.
I look at that image over here of myself and I'm like, how is that guy me? Because
Yeah.
how did I get here? How am I 51 years old? And
Well, like just on my desk, I've got pictures in this little thing, and like there's little baby Ryan from like 2018, and I'm like, he's about to graduate high school. And then there I'm 17 years old, and I'm like, dude, what the hell happened?
it goes fast.
So fast. Like, it's so weird. That 17-year-old me looks at me every day, and I'm like, oh. I'm like, I can't look at you.
And it only goes faster. It's
I know.
amazing.
Yeah. Like, I feel like I just turned 21, and I'm already turning 22 in 4 months.
Yeah.
That's weird. Also lame, because nothing fun happens at 22. 21 was a lot of fun. Like 18, you're like, yeah, I'm 18. And then 20, you're like, yeah, I'm 20. I turned 21. And then 21. No one's excited to be 22 years old. I'm very upset.
Well, it's just different. Like
Yeah.
it's just different what you look forward to and it's just different. That's the only way I can summarize it is every step is different.
22
And
just sounds so much more adult.
and you have to find the excitement, and you've got to find the fun, and you've got to find all those things that are manufactured for you. Now you have to find them, and that's where your mom and I
22 is
are.
going to be the year that I move.
Well,
I'm going to make it.
anyway, with that,
All right, y'all. Well, thanks for tuning in for another episode. We had some good conversations today.
we did.
So if any of y'all have advice for moving internationally, please hit me up. Please.
Yeah.
But also, talk to us anytime about anything. Give us ideas that you want to hear us discuss. We're open to pretty much every topic.
Yes, we are. And thanks for everybody for continuing to tune in and comment and like and share. And I don't know, I think we're averaging a few thousand views, at least on Facebook. I don't even know about all the others. So
pretty much.
We're whatever we're talking about is resonating with people, and that's great. So thank you. We appreciate it.
Very grateful. But on that note, we've got to wrap up because I have to go to freaking work in 2 hours. And we will see y'all next Thursday.
We'll see y'all on the next one. Everybody stay safe. Treat each other nicely.
Treat people with kindness.
And we'll see you on the flip.
Bye.
Bye.